Hi, Crafty Crystal here. You see this gorgeous pattern? This is called the Brocade Throw. I found it on redheart.com. It looks so complicated. It looks so elegant. It's just has a rich look to it. And this is something that even though they say you need experience to do, I'm telling you, each tiny individual part of this is so simple. You have double crochets, single crochets, single crochets and chain, single crochets and chain, double crochets, single crochets, a double, single, single, triple crochets. I mean, you can do this. You can do this, and you're going to have a jaw-dropping time when your friends and your family see what you've done. Let's get started. Now here is your redheart.com. This is their webpage where they have the brocade throw, and it's a free download. When you download it, you get your Adobe Reader. It shows you everything you need to know. It uses 4 colors, and it gives you the rows that each color will be used on. You fill in your own colors here. And as you can see, it says experienced. Some patterns will say advanced instead of experienced. Don't let that throw you. You are going to ace this. Trust me. You are going to ace this. It calls for 3 skeins of each of 4 colors, and the skeins are the Super Saver, which are 7-ounce skeins. So we're not talking, 3-ounce skeins. We're talking about 7-ounce skeins. And if you go through the bottom here, you get to see some different samples of the colors that they use. You have the brown and tan, purple and green. There's a bright orange and yellow one. There's another bright one. See what you can do? Now look at this bottom left one. See how cattywampus it is? That's what happens when you don't connect your colors properly. They've got to be your central flower when you start your flower row has to be put in the right place or you get cattywampus. These are pretty centered. The orange one's off a little bit. Your green and purple and white are good. This green and purple is perfect. Really nice. And the brown one's cattywampus a little. But that'll all be in the placement of where you put your loops. So that's what the pattern looks like. That's where we get started, and let's go and see how we do it. Are you ready to see how really easy it is to tackle this? You have your 4 colors. This is my A color. This is my D color. This is my B color. This is my C color. And your A's and your D's are always going to be the same. The other 2 will change back and forth. Here you have the B and the C. The C and the B. The B and the C. But as you can see, the A's and the D's remain the same. That gives you your continuity. That's what makes the pattern look so nice. So we're going to start with our center A. And whether you like to start with chains or magic circles, on these circles you're going to have to start with chain. You can start the center one with a magic circle if you want, but the rest have to be chain. So I'm going to show you how we start every single flower. with a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now you turn it around, you come back into your very first stitch. Just like that. And you pull the loop through the beginning of your chain and the end of your chain. And you just slip stitched a little chain of 4. See there? Got a tiny little circle. Now you can do this with or without a chain 1 to begin. I'm using a chain 1. And I'm going to count that as my first. I need 6 single crochets in this little circle here. So I'm going to count that as 1. Bring through a loop. Wrap. Bring through a loop. That's 2. That's a single crochet. Bring through a loop. And through 2. That's 3. 4. 5. 6. There we go. Now, I'm going to count using the one on the hook. I'm going to count it. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because when this one is connected to this one, it'll be a bridge that makes the 6th. So I counted my bridge to start with. You understand what I mean by that? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because when I put this over here, this is the one that was on my hook. And it became the 6th stitch. Okay? Now we need, whoops, I don't need the tail. Come back here. We need to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to make our 6 petals. And we're going to go into these 6 stitches we made. So here's the first stitch, and we're going to put 3 double crochets into each of these 6 stitches. Don't you bundle up on me. There we go. And we're going to chain 3 and do it again in the next stitch. Now a double crochet is wrap, go into your stitch, pull out a loop, wrap, pull through 2 loops once, wrap, 2 loops twice, and 2 is a double. Wrap, go back into that same stitch, pull up your loop, through 2 once, through 2 twice, and that's your double. Okay? Very simple. Just stick her in that hole, pull up your loop. 1, 2, 3, chain. Now you go on and do that around. And we're going to do 6. Okay. Now while I'm doing this, you look at the pattern. You see all the flowers, and the reason why you cannot use a magic circle to make the rest of the flowers is because of the way they are attached. You see how they're all kind of interwoven in here? Each of these is a loop. This is the chain 3 loop. This is the chain 3 loop. The chain 4, you have to stick the tail down in there and pull it up the other side, and then you connect it. Now, you could probably figure out a way to do that with the magic circle, but you know, it would be such a pain. This is really easier. Much, much. I've been pointing and talking instead of crocheting. I'm almost done with my 5th group around here. Or is it my 6th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My 5th. And chain 3. And come back and go in my last loop. 1 double, 2 doubles, 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to come in here, at the top of my triple. And you see the top here? Go through the back loop, and you see the bottom of the chain here? See, you've got a chain 3. See this one right here? That one? We're going to go through this, and we're going to go through the top of that. That's what you remember to do whenever you're making something like a bag or a hat or a purse or anything that you're going to keep going around and connecting. That'll give you a really nice connection all the way up, and it's not real visible. Where's my scissors? Somebody stole my scissors. Okay. Now we just cut the thread, pull the yarn through our last loop, and if you want to make it nice and neatly tight, you pull this part back first, and then this one. There's your knot. Okay? Alright. Now I'm going to set this aside up a little bit. Excuse me. And I think for the sake of the camera, I'm going to use this darker color. As you can see it better. Uh-oh. Kitty cat wants to help. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, normally you would put your loop in here, but we need to attach it to the flower. Now look at your flower. You see the difference between the back and the front? The front you can see all the stitches, and you can see the little wraps on them. And the back has all these funny little bumps on them. Looks like a bunch of little knots. That's because your back shows the bumps on the back of your chains. See here? See what the back of your chain looks like? That's what the back of your part looks like. See? So, make sure that you are looking at the front. And you stick this little tail right down in here through one of these loops. Just like that. In fact, I'm going to do it over here where I can cover up my connection. Okay. Now you bring this through. Boop, boop, boop. I have tails all over the place, don't I? Okay. Excuse me. Gonna go through. Now we go through the tail of the loop. And we want to bring through a loop. Slip stitch it. Now that's just like we did on the other one with a lot less trouble. And for these little ones, I'm not going to chain one, but I am going to count this as 1, 2. Make sure they're kind of loose. You need them loose. Okay? So it's a long stitch. 6 of these have to make a whole circle. 3. 4. See how long they look? That's 3 around that half. 5. Would you any help? Yeah. and 6. Now there's actually only 5 loops, but that's where I come around to this first long loop and connect this to that, and the one on my hook becomes the 6th hoop, the 6th loop, okay? Now we're going to chain 2 just like we did. You see that? That's the back of the pattern. Before you attach, make sure you're working on the front of the pattern, okay? Before you attach, make sure you're working on the front of the pattern, because you can get twisted around. Okay. Now, I'm turning this. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Got all twisted around here. I want to go back down to here. Okay, so I've come through with my 6th stitch. I got the front of my centerpiece here. I got my 6 crochets. I'm going to chain 2 instead of 3, because the third one is going right into this next hole, the next chain 3 hole, and we're going to pull a loop up through the hole through the stitch. So our chain 3 is a chain snag 3, okay? Now wrap. I'm going to go back into this first stitch, and we're going to put 2 more double crochets, which is wrap, go in, bring up a loop, through 2 loops, through 2 loops. Now this first one counts as 1, 2, 3. And again, we're going to do 1, 2, 3 chains. Wrap. And we're going to do 3 double crochets in this one. One, 2, 3. Wrap. Go down into the third one. All the rest of the flowers only have 3 petals. Only the center one has 6. Now we've done 2 of the 3 double crochets in this set, and we need 3 just like the other side. But what we do here is we're going to start out where we pull through 2 of the stitches, and to finish this one, instead of wrapping and pulling through these 2, we're going to sneak through this hole first and then grab our loop and pull it through these 2. Now we didn't extend the stitch, we just grabbed a loop and pulled it through, but we grabbed it through here. So it is thoroughly connected. See there? Okay. Now we can snip it. Pull our thread up through our loop. Here we are. Okay. Now we'll do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to do this one a little faster. You can go back to the first part if you want to see it a little slower. 2, 3, 4. Stick the loop through, making sure you're on the front side. Come here, you. Put the hook through the first loop. Loop through, slip stitch, out of there, and 1, 2, 3, Whoops. Make sure you don't go through your underlying thread. 4, 5, 6. Come back here to my first long loop, slip stitch, chain 2, and making sure I'm on the front side. I'm going to come over here and put it in this loop. Now all you guys who are right-handers, you're going to be putting them into these loops. Us southpaws, left-handers, we've got to put them in this loop. Now in that same loop, we put the 3 double crochets. We have one. Oh, you know those tails drive me nuts. I would strongly suggest that you do your tails every step of the way. So every row or 2, you want to go back and put all your tails in. There is nothing worse than getting to the end of a project, and instead of being joyful that you're done with it, you look at the back and you have a whole forest of tails to put away, and it's like, takes all the fun, all the joy out of actually finishing. In the same way with these squares, they have so many different layers. Whoops. Okay. I'm a-talking. I almost went overhead and finished my double crochet like that. And in order to finish it, we want to go through this one and pull the loop through it and through those. Okay? Okay, there we are. Now, we have our center. Now we're going to put this outside edge on here. And that's not hard at all either. I'm going to switch to one that I took the tails off of. I only have one tail to make sure I know where the center is. I can't work with those tails. They're driving me nuts. Okay. So now I go to my D color. Come on, baby. That's a good boy. And in the pattern, she usually says cast on with or connect with a single crochet. And that means you make your loop on your hook, your slip stitch, and then you come down into your piece like this, and you make a single crochet. So just like when you're making a regular single crochet, you have your loop on your hook, go into the stitch you want to make your single crochet in, bring up a loop, wrap your yarn, pull it through both. You made your single crochet. Now we need 4 in each of these corners. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you remember to look and make sure you're working on the right side? We're on the right side. Okay. Now we're going to put 1 single crochet in the end of each of these. And since we're all doing every row on the top in the same direction, the loop that approaches a post is the one that belongs with it. So you know every time this one here is your first one of this set. This one here on this end is not part of this set. This is part of your chain. This one here, see? This is the loop that approaches. This is the one that belongs with it. So we're going to make 1, 2, 3, and 4 singles in the loop again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 in each of these. 1, 2, 3. And we've got the rest of this little loop that we connected our flower onto. We're going to put 2 in those. So our little side loops here are going to get 2 each. 1, 2. You can consider the other 2 as being hidden over here in the flower. And then 1 in each of these. And then another 2 in this hole. Now, right here, you know that this one belongs to the chain. This one belongs to here. This one belongs to here. You need one for this last one. Now, if you look here, here's your chain that goes up for your single crochet. The one that leads to it is the one that's going to be your stitch that you're going into. So you want to go behind this, and you're going to have to share this stitch with this line, but you're going to share it on either side of this bump. So here's looking at it sideways, you can see the chain that goes up for your first stitch. You're going to come in behind that for your first single crochet for the bunch. Now you're going to go in front of it for your second single crochet of that bunch. And the third one's easy. Stick it right there where it's supposed to be. You're going to run through this all along, all kinds of places. You got to know what you're doing. You're going to be doing this flower a lot. 36 of these. And you're going to be doing 2 sides. So you need to know where to go to and where to avoid. Okay, now we're going to do 4. One in each of these. Now we can speed it up. We've done the long talking. We can just get on with it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this hasn't been hard so far, has it? Just chains and doubles, and singles. Chains and doubles and singles. That's pretty much it. Whoops. This is the one that goes with these. That's the one I have to go into. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. What is it, babe? Now over here, we did our chain, and we have to do our 3 here. So I'm going behind this for my first chain, in front of it for my second, single crochet, in front of it for my second single crochet, through this one for my third crochet. Now I'm putting right into the top of this first single crochet. Pull up a loop, and snip. Okay. Now with this slate on top, you can see that your next color is going to be the alternate color that you use for your flowers. See? It's going to be the one you use for your outside flowers. And placement is very, very, very important. So you want to start with your first single crochet in the very top center of your flower, of any end petal, either end. You see this shaft and this little hole here, this little part here? This is the top that belongs to this shaft, the center. This single crochet that went into that hole, this is the top of its hole, of its shaft. That's where you want to stick your crochet hook and connect with a single crochet, just like we did for this round. This will put everything, every flower, the entire straight or cattywampus attitude of your whole square in perspective if you make this first stitch correctly. Okay? Now you chain 1, 2, 3, you skip 1 crochet, go into the next, do a single crochet, 1, 2, 3, skip 1 crochet, go into the next, just like that all the way around. Skip 1, go into the next. Okay. Here we have the knot. See where the knot came together? And you want to know, do I include that knot or not? If you started where I did, which was at the beginning of your 4 single crochets here, you will always skip that knot and not have to worry about it. So here's the one you're skipping, here's the knot, here's the one you go into. If you're not sure, you come back to your center of your flower, skip 1, here's one you use, skip 1, here's one you used, and that shows you that you're right. That is the stitch that you want to go into. Just like that. It really helps to count backwards sometimes from where you need to be to where you are to find out if you're skipping, missing, adding, subtracting. It'll just let you know where you are. Okay, here's my last 3. You see here you have your 1, 2, 3 for your chain. So this one is your single crochet right there. That's the one you want to go into. Slip stitch your part together. Now you had 48 single crochets around your ring. You've gone back and you've made all these loops every other stitch. So now you have 24 loops. We are going to come once again and we are going to load the next color, and we're going to be going a single crochet in every one of these loops around, and again we'll have 24 loops, and the loops will be centered over the ends, over the corners, with the others in between. Okay, let's pull out A again, and again we'll start from a single crochet with a slip stitch. And it doesn't matter where you started, any one of these holes will work. Make a single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet. No problem. 1, 2, 3. You just did it all the way around with this pretty little color B here, and we're just going to do the same thing with our A. Okay? Do that all the way around. Single crochet, chain 3. And as I mentioned, 1, 2, 3. You come here and do it in the center. See here? Because you made this post in the center of this flower, your loop is going to be in the center of the flower, and that's where you're going to put your end petals. See there? That's in the center of the flower. Your loop is in the center of the flower, and your next flower can go right on top of it. And that's the lineup you're looking for. Okay? All right, I'll meet you around. Okay, this one's done. See how much we've done of this complicated pattern. See there? Okay. Shouldn't be scared of these patterns. Even if it says advanced, walk through it. You can ask somebody. Crochet Crowd usually has somebody that'll answer you. You can email or message me and ask me a question, and I'll need the pattern you're working on. So either take a picture of a pattern if it's a bought pattern or a book pattern. Take a picture of the spot you're having trouble with, and send it to me. If it's something on the internet that's not a bought pattern, so I can get to it, send me the URL. Tell me what parts you're having trouble with. I'll help you with it. I love doing that stuff. I get a kick out of it. Okay, now take our tail from our chain 4. We stick it right through this end loop. You want to do it through one of the end loops so that you know that you've got the right lineup. Because if you start it just anywhere, like here, and you come over here and you're going to have a hole. You're going to have a flower here and a flower here, and you won't have your flower when you need it. So best bet is to stick that little puppy, stick that tail right in there, front to back. Always do front to back. That way you'll be consistent. And I'm going to do the first one with you because of the way it's connected. But it's the same way you did these and these. The only difference between these flowers and these flowers, the only difference is you chain 2 in between every petal. Chain 2. These are all chain 3. And the reason for that, I think, is to make this big enough that these don't become a total ruffle. As it is, they tend to ruffle a little bit. But it gives some texture to the blanket when you're done. So go ahead and do this part. Y'all know the ticket. I'm not going to make you watch this.